Good morning, everybody. How you doing today? My name's Andrew.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Tracy.
I'm Grandpa.
I'm Matt.
I'm Kelly.
I'm Mimi. I'm Aunt Becky.
I'm Joel. And we're some of the Veggie boys.
Gus.
And we'd like to thank you for stopping by. If you're new here, please consider subscribing because we can grow a lot of stuff on the farm, but one thing we can't do is grow this channel without your help. Welcome back, everyone. It's so nice to see you. We're gonna get jumping right into the morning. Now, yesterday we had an exciting day on the farm, but before we talk about that, we gotta get our farm market all set up. So that means the floor all vacuumed and then everything pulled out of the cooler. Dad and I have now got the floor all swept, so things are being pulled out of the cooler. We're having a lot of apple pallets that need to be brought out. This is apple time of the year, and let me tell you, you move through a lot of apples. So what we're gonna be doing now is just finishing with setting up and then moving on to our next job. Farm market is now all set up, so we're gonna be heading down around back to get the animals taken care of. Little side note, we are having some trouble with our cooler, so we had a few guys show up. They're gonna be working on that today. So that's a little hiccup that we've been dealing with, but you never know what problems you're gonna face. You just know you're gonna face problems eventually. Once Daniel finished dumping in the silage, I ran and grabbed the grain, so all the cattle are taken care of for the morning. I collect eggs every day, so it doesn't really ever get too exciting, but something about going through these nests and taking these new eggs just giving me an extra boost this morning. I don't know what it is. These things look awesome. Chickens are now all fed and eggs are all collected. We got a little under a basket and a half, which is really good for us. We have been doing something a little bit different though. We've been feeding chickens every day. We've been giving them 2 or 3 buckets. And for the newer chickens, we're just trying to get them familiar with us. The fact we go in and out of there so many times with the food, it starts to draw them to you. They're not as scared of you. We don't want our chickens being scared of us. We don't want them to have any issues. I don't know if it's helping, but the chickens seem much more relaxed now that we've started doing that. While I was feeding the chickens, getting the eggs collected, the boys have been moving some hay around. They just got 1 bale moved into the feeder. They're now adding a second. We had that wagon over there down in the blue barn and it was full of hay for quite some time. Now that we've got it emptied, we can take it up top. It's now no longer gonna be taking up any room in our blue barn, so that's always a bonus. So our next job originally was gonna be grinding feed. We need to grind feed for the cattle. We're starting to run a little low. However, the guys are down around back working on our cooler unit, and we don't wanna be working around them while they're working. Those machines are loud. We just want them to be able to work and not be bothered. So in changing things up, we're actually gonna be heading out to the field. We just gotta get everything all together, and we'll be on our way. Funny. Just got a call from Joel. I hooked up to the wagon for no reason. We're taking the truck. We never take the truck. How have I known? We need a bin of cauliflower and a bin of cabbage back at the farm, which brings us out to the cole crops. Thankfully, we've been selling a lot of cabbage, a lot of cauliflower on the farm, so we've been moving it rather quickly, which allows us to harvest often. It keeps everything fresh, and if everything's fresh, well, you know that we're happy and we know that the customers are happy. Now, a little guide on how we pick cabbage. What we'll normally do is take one of our hands and put it on the cabbage and squeeze. If the cabbage is loose, that means that it is not done growing. However, if we have a firm head, then we know it's ready to cut. So we'll usually control the cabbage with one hand move the leaves out of the way, and then we'll come through with our knife at the base. And that's how we harvest cabbage. This section of field we've gone through and harvested already. We just felt like it was a good idea to go through again and get any heads that we missed. Sometimes when we're picking, we also are looking for a specific size. We might have been looking for a specific size when we were here last, which is another good reason to go through again. We raise a few different varieties of cabbage on the farm. The three main are Blue Vantage, Megaton, and Trans Am. Now Trans Am is all the way at the farther end. That is our longest season cabbage. It's into the 105 day category. Our Megaton, which is usually our favorite cabbage, that's like midday, and then our youngest varieties that we're raising are Blue Vantage. Now for the type of cabbage we're harvesting right now, this is like a packing cabbage. It stays a little on the smaller side. We use this for restaurants and if anybody just wants smaller heads. However, this year a lot of the Blue Vantage has gotten to a nice size. I don't know if it's from all that late season moisture, but for example, this as a Blue Vantage, that is crazy. That is a large head of cabbage. For the most part, the smaller stuff we go through really quickly. However, the Megaton that we had, we sold a lot of that for one order. And then the Trans Am, well, that stuff can get really big, but it's still developing down there. It's important to remember where you plant certain varieties because we use them for different things. We are getting ready to start doing sauerkraut, so cabbage is very important to us. The Trans Am, we're going to be using a lot of that. And this Blue Vantage, we might take some of the bigger heads and use that for sauerkraut. Altogether, this big section of field has produced really well. We usually don't do too bad with late season cabbage, but this year has been particularly nice. The only person I've ever seen take a cabbage directly to the head was Joel. And ever since then, he's been left-handed. And there we have it, a beautiful bin of cabbage. This stuff looks really good, and I was tasting it a little bit. It tastes really good too. Now we got our 2 bins filled, we can move on to cauliflower. What do you got there, Matt?
Snack cabbage.
Yeah, that's what we do with the little cabbages.
It's a personal size cabbage.
It's not every day you get your own personal snack cabbage. That's good, nice and sweet. This is why we should carry a salt shaker in the truck. That is fresh, and that is good. Something you may have noticed with the cabbage, we occasionally were pulling outside leaves off. That's because they were starting to rot. The base of the cabbage, the center of the cabbage, perfectly fine. It's just as you get to the later part of the year when the water just sits in the cabbage, those leaves, they just curled up and they hold all the water at the center. And for whatever reason, that can sometimes cause the cabbage to rot. So you will see leaves that we will have to pull off, but we're never keeping anything that has like a rotten core. Usually we'll put that back into the field or we'll feed that to our animals. I don't know, Dad. What do you think about this weather?
I love it. It should stay this way till about February and then warm up.
We were dealing with some colder weather, and this week it's going to be particularly warm. Now next week it's going to drop down again, but we're looking at 70s for this whole week. So our next thing that we're going to be picking today is cauliflower. We're going to be looking to grab a bin. It should not take long at all. This stuff looks absolutely gorgeous. I always say my favorite thing to harvest is the stuff that look the best, and it's never peas. That's a beauty. That is a beautiful cauliflower. That's a big one. The leaves on it when we're stacking it like this, but I just had to trim this one up to show you. That's what we're dealing with here. Beautiful cauliflower. I don't remember harvesting cauliflower like this. I love it. Look at that. Gorgeous.
I think we're full.
We can get a few more on there.
Guys, we gotta take these two. They're too nice to leave in the field. That always says that too. I don't know what the problem is. We're gonna have to come back and pick tomorrow anyways.
I love it. It's just great.
Look at that. Joel's eating snacks up in the tractor.
Got a personal cauliflower.
Thank you. It's nice and cool. Now that is a sight to see. Beautiful bin of cauliflower and 2 wonderful bins of cabbage. Everybody is heading back to the farm, but we're gonna make a quick detour since we're right next to where we were harvesting potatoes. Something you may notice about the potatoes is that there is much less rocks in this field than there was previously. Now there's a very good reason for that. We had bought a piece of equipment to get all the rocks out of the field. What? Yeah, I know. You guys are excited. I am too. It worked really, really well. There were quite a few rocks in this field. Now, we did get some footage of that, so I'll show you how it went. Something to keep in mind, you will see some potatoes going up over the rock picker. That's okay. The potatoes that were left in the field were ones that we could not use. Works a lot better, let me tell you. Okay, there we go, guys. All that no longer in the fields. Let's see how big a pile of rocks we can get. Also, Pete, I've already dug up 1 snake. Just keep that in mind. We got this, Pete.
We got this, Joel. So what do you think, Joel?
I think things are running pretty smooth, Pete. Isn't that something? I tell you what, I was really happy when we had brought that piece of equipment home. We never showed it to you because we wanted to surprise you. Yeah, it worked really, really well. We got a nice pile of rocks over here. You can see right here. Yeah, look at all of that. Big old pile. Now we can use that stone for many different things. We can use it to fill in waterways if necessary, anywhere that's eroding out. But the fact that we now have a rock picker and a rock picker that works well, you can guarantee that there's gonna be less rocks in the videos in the future. There's not gonna be 0 rocks because we can't get them all. And you know, rocks are important, but there's gonna be a lot less of the larger ones.
Want some cauliflower?
Yeah, I'll take some cauliflower. Yeah. That's good. They got all the cauliflower and cabbage pulled into the cooler. We're gonna go see how it looks. But check out these mums that we have up in front of the greenhouse. These are the last of the mums. Yes, you heard that correctly, the last of the mums. Look at these white ones. They have like a purple tint on the outside of the flower. Those are one of my favorites. The fact that these greenhouses were completely full, now they're emptied out, we can get them all cleaned up. And yeah, winter's coming. So after we got back with the cabbage, we were thinking about a few things that we wanted to do. We did come up with something. We made sauerkraut. So I have some leftover scraps. And what we like to do with the leftover scraps is give them to the chickens because the cabbage is shredded up really fine and they love it. We've made sauerkraut on the channel in the past, and this year we also will do that. But for today, we just got it done quickly. That will definitely keep these chickens busy for a long time. What's up, big boy? There you go, a little snack. How is that? Pretty good, huh? There's a few things that the cattle really enjoy eating. Potatoes are probably number one. But once you move into the coal crops, that's a close second. With the farm market, we try to have as little waste as possible because waste means lost profits. But for the most part, anything that does go to waste, we give it to the animals. You do have to be careful during some months because it can really attract a lot of insects, but later on into the year, we don't have too many worries. The batch of sauerkraut we did today was a small batch. It was only 5 buckets. When we do our large batch, we'll do a 50-gallon drum. It's a lot of sauerkraut and we sell through it really quickly. The only problem is it takes a while to get to the point where it is sauerkraut, so we have to start it now. It is now lunchtime on the farm. Let's see what we are having today. Ooh, we are having crab salad. Or if somebody doesn't want crab, they can just have a salad and it looks good. The best part about today is Granny makes edible bowls. Edible bowls, yes.
It's pretty exciting right now. We're going down to the soybean test plot because we just got most of our soybeans harvested yesterday, but we still have the test plot to harvest. We're taking everything down there to be able to cut our different varieties of soybeans, and then we're going to be able to weigh them and figure out how much the yield would be for them. And then we'll be able to share that data with other farmers in the area. All right, we are down here at the test plot. As you can see, we got lots of soybeans here. They look actually really nice. Just have all of our notes written down and the varieties in order, so as we harvest them, all the data we take, we can apply to the proper variety. We're going to be starting with the longest season first down here. Soybeans, their maturities, they go by numbers, and it's not like with corn, their days, like corn, you can have 105-day corn, and that takes 105 days to mature on an average year. Soybeans work a little differently. They go by numbers, and the numbers are like our youngest variety down here is a 2-2. So like different maturities are, there's a 1's maturity group, 2 maturity group, and 3 maturity group, and they go up to like 4's and 5's as well, but none of those are available for our area because they take way too long a season. So we got our little spot set up here, and how this is gonna go is we need to weigh the soybeans that Dad harvests, and then we take what those soybeans weigh, we do some math along with the moisture that the soybeans are, combined with the length of the plot that we harvested and the width of the rows and how much we planted. And with all of that, we're able to get a estimation of what a full acre of that would yield. By doing that with a bunch of different varieties, we're able to recommend to farmers in our area what varieties might do well for them compared to what they're already planting. So it really helps the farmers in the local area get a plan for the future of what they'll be planting next year. In the process of doing all of our science stuff, that is finding out the yields of the varieties in our test plot of soybeans, we had what I think they call it in the scientific community a variable, which is Joel, when we were dumping, because we're doing this very high tech, so we're dumping the soybeans into this barrel, which is on the scale, so that we can know exactly how much the soybeans weigh, which is very important to figuring out what the yield is. Herein lies the issue. The variable is that the bin that we're putting the soybeans in, when Joel pulled in with it, he had the, I think, we don't know what exactly happened. The bin slid off, fell flat on our scale. So you can see now, it's broken there. The scale's a little damaged here, but it still works. Look at that. So we're able to still do this. Joel is not happy about it, so I don't talk to him about it. So what we do here is first, we take our soybean sample and we run our test. So you kind of have to listen to the machine here. First you let it sit here even, nothing touching it. Then we fill up the hopper. Then once it tells us to, we open the hopper and let the soybeans pour in. Close the hopper, let it sit so we can weigh it. Remove the hopper and brush off the soybeans. The reason we brush it off is because that makes sure we have a the cup is level full completely. And that way it can weigh it and give us our moisture. So that sample, which is off of the variety P28A39E, was 12.1% moisture and 57-pound test weight, even. And the test weight is just how many pounds of this corn equals a bushel by volume. So usually the heavier, the better. And 12 moisture is pretty good because we want it at like 13.5, so 12 is pretty good. So then after we get the moisture, what we do is we take our calculator and we can now do the math to find out what the yield would have been on this hybrid. So we start with the number 100, and then we subtract our moisture, which is 12.1. We multiply that number by the weight of the soybeans for our area for this, which was 338 pounds. And then we multiply that by the number 109.815. And you may ask, why that number? Well, that is just the number that makes this whole equation work. And then after we multiply that, we divide it by the length of our rows, which we know are 215 feet. And then we divide that by the width of our planting rows times the number of rows, which in this case is 180 inches. And after doing all that, we've come out to, we have 84.3 bushels to the acre of corn. And that's all the hoops we have to jump through to find out what the yield would be. So we're all done getting the test plot done. The boys are taking all the equipment home. Winner of the plot ran 100 bushel the acre, which for soybeans is fantastic. It's a little bit long season for our area, so on an average year, I don't know how well it would have done. But this one, it did really well. So we'll try it again next year and see if it continues to do really well. But other than that, we're ready to get home. We got to get the soybeans unloaded and put into the bin so we can get drying them and get ready to haul them to the mill. So we're home from the bean test plot, and now we're gonna run over to the neighbor farmers. They have another bean plot.
Callie and I are here at the farm market. It is now closing up time, so we are gonna be putting everything away. She wanted to come up, see the pumpkins, see the kitties. I don't want to say it too loud because then I have to go down and see them again. But anyway, we're gonna be putting everything away and getting the farm market all closed up. Farm market is now closed. We've got everything put away, so we are on our way home. We are now getting ready to sit down and eat dinner. Megan and Lauren made stuffed shells and rice for dinner. Oh, it's gonna be good. And now that everybody is at the table, you guys know what that means. This is where we're gonna end the video today. I'd like to thank everyone for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.